You ready for the big idea?
I am ready for the big idea.
Okay, let me just do a little stretch here.
Okay.
I'm going to be using my hands, as I often do when I explain.
Yes, of course.
So I'm going to tell you, Andre, I'm going to tell you 3 anecdotes that are pretty small and short. And you're not going to understand why I'm telling you these.
Okay.
But I'm just going to weave it right together. The first anecdote. So back when I was single, living in Provo, I had a situation where the air in my tires had like gone low. I think the car I had, the tires were bad, and it would happen enough. It's kind of annoying. And on that particular day, I was like, I should fill my tires. So I went to this random gas station I don't usually go to, and I go around back. And normally when you fill up your air in your tires, it's like 75 cents, or you got to swipe your card or whatever. But this particular gas station, it was free. Just had a little thing. You flip it on, switch, and you can fill up your tires. And I was like, how great is this?
Yeah.
Right? That's anecdote 1.
Free air.
Free air.
Got it.
Anecdote 2. Back, I think I was in 10th grade, maybe 9th grade, right when I could drive for the first time. There was a gal who I knew growing up named Catherine Bullman, and I had a big old crush on her, but then she moved away. But then she came back one summer for like a week.
Yeah.
And
the perfect storm.
It was the perfect storm. It was Greece. It was like,
it was just beautiful.
This is my girlfriend. I mean, I'm gonna kiss this girl this weekend. I'm gonna make it happen.
Yeah.
And it just so happened that the week prior, me and my friends had been driving around, and we found this really cool lookout that was like kind of off. You know, you had to like go over this curb and get there, and it like just so happened.
Just enough privacy.
Just enough privacy, right? Yep. And I was like, I got to take Catherine to this lookout.
Yeah.
So I drove over and picked her up, and sure enough, it was super romantic. Sealed the deal. Right there in that lookout. Yep. Had a lovely weekend.
Love it.
And then
then she left again.
And then she left again, and then we haven't really. I mean, we've chatted here and there, but that was it. That's anecdote 2. The last anecdote is I was going to a jazz game not too long ago, and I was looking for parking. And if you've ever parked for a jazz game or any sporting event, closest to the stadium, extremely expensive parking. Unless you kind of go out, you like. And then there's this weird zone where sometimes it's cheap, sometimes it's expensive. It just happens to be the place you go into, right? And I happened to find this place that was like really cheap for how close it was. And I was like, this is great.
Yes.
That's the end of anecdote 3.
Struggling to see
The through line here.
through line.
All right. So, Andre, this app, which is the idea here, it's an app. It's a social app, kind of. But the app is called BreadCrumbs. And the idea here, Andre, is that you have a map that you can geotag things and leave little breadcrumbs for everyone. You can leave permanent breadcrumbs. You can leave semi-permanent breadcrumbs that go away after a while. But the idea is I'm in a place, I find something cool or interesting or helpful, and I take a picture of it and I say, free air at this gas station. Here it is. And I tag it as helpful. And I leave that breadcrumb, and then I go about my day. And then anytime anybody using the BreadCrumbs app happens to be at that gas station, they can open up and say, oh, there's some breadcrumbs here. And they see that, oh, there's free. Did you know there's free air here? Let's fill up while we're here, right? Or one of 1,000 other interesting things that can happen at any different spot in the country.
Yeah.
As you start to imagine, you're like, oh, I could leave breadcrumbs for interesting trails or lookouts, or there's some semi-permanent breadcrumbs that like maybe you're at Sundance and you left a breadcrumb and say, hey, I just saw Brad Pitt over here. Leave a little breadcrumb in an area, and it's like, hey, it's somewhere over here, right? And then people, it becomes this kind of fun way to like leave helpful, useful, interesting, crazy information. And it just stays there. And it's just like this really fascinating backlog of information of like, oh, I didn't know, like in Salt Lake, there is a statue garden that's like kind of in this random spot. And it has like this really bizarre architecture, bizarre statues that are really cool, but like it's not publicized anywhere. It's like you just kind of got to know about it. But if I was like in Salt Lake and I was like, I could see kind of interesting breadcrumbs that were like, thumbs up, or like we were gaining traction that were kind of showing up maybe bigger on my map. Like I could kind of see what was being engaged with. Now, a service like this, what's great about it is one, it benefits from network effect, but doesn't depend on it. Because like the first couple people, like you're not gonna have a ton to do, but as it gets bigger, you join, it's like all that stuff is just there. It just stays there forever. I mean, there's a way to report stuff that's like not good or crap or whatever, but generally content just stays there forever. So that's interesting. I think it would evolve into a service that people would like you'd think it would be kind of like Twitter. Like it used to be for something and then it kind of evolved into something else. Like I think there's a lot of potential with a service like this. That's like, oh, we didn't realize this was really, really cool for this thing. And then I think as far as making money, sponsored breadcrumbs, right? So Wendy's can say, hey, we're doing a special here right now, and like you could see a little sponsored. It might be a different color or whatever. Just regular ads that you'd see anywhere else. Yeah. Breadcrumbs. What do you think?
I like it. So my breadcrumb right now is there's this place in Cottonwood Heights, and it's called Mixers, and it's right next to the liquor store, and essentially it's Mixers. But in the back they have a like bottle chiller that it's free, and in like 5 minutes it can get your bottle to like ice cold. You put it in, it like
That's awesome.
does all this crazy stuff. It's awesome, right? And like also the guy that owns it is really nice. Like I talked to him last night. He was like, yeah, anytime you want, like come throw a bottle in here. Like we don't have to pay. It's just like to get people in the door. And I was like, this is freaking awesome, right? And it's like, that's a breadcrumb.
That's a breadcrumb.
And nobody would ever know that.
He's not going to advertise that.
No, it's like not something that's going to be, and it's also not something that like I would never seek it out, but if it was there, I would visit.
Exactly.
Right? And I think what's interesting about this app is that there are a lot of things that aren't exactly in like the TripAdvisor top attractions section.
Exactly.
But are somewhere between like, something you would see on Google Maps and somewhere between like something you would see on Yelp or whatever.
Totally.
I think there's a big like underserved geolocation market there.
Yeah.
So I like that concept.
And
I like it for parking. I like it for just like cool little spots to check out. I like it for makeout points. Like it's a good concept, right? I think the ad placement is like very clear. I think something I draw a comparison to is like Waze. So
Sure.
Waze is like my boyfriend uses Waze. I don't. But he's like obsessed with like adding stuff on Waze, like speed traps and like people pulled over and
there
stuff
are.
like that.
It's like there's a certain type of person who it's the Yelp people, the Wikipedia people, the Waze people.
But as
like,
soon as you start using Waze, like you're like, oh, this is kind of awesome. Like it says when a car's on the shoulder and all this stuff, or when there's a cop ahead, and like it's often really accurate, right?
Yeah.
So I think like that's a concept I'm really interested in. So what I kind of am noodling on concept wise is what if like posting to breadcrumbs,
I think
plural, whatever. Like what if it was as easy as like putting something on your Instagram story with hashtag breadcrumbs.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
like breadcrumbs just like siphoned up data on their hashtags all the time.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And then like, so
Kinda
you
kind
hashtag,
of like Chatbooks does that a little bit.
I have never used Chatbooks, but sure.
They basically you hashtag Chatbooks or send to Chatbooks.
Yeah.
That's how they collate
Totally.
a book of your memories.
Yeah, but you could see how like, what if you hashtag breadcrumbs and then right away you get a push notification from breadcrumbs that's like, oh, we saw you just tagged us. What do you want to like mark it as? And it's like, oh, this is a free thing. So you could add like the metadata there.
Yeah.
Or it's like if you hashtag breadcrumbs and hashtag free, then it automatically puts it in free. And Instagram has your geo location, right? So it's like if it can pull that data from the API and like you sign into breadcrumbs with your Instagram account, and then it just pulls in pictures, and all you have to do is like use Instagram, which you're already using.
Yep.
Post stuff to your friend's story, which you're already posting to. And then like breadcrumbs just picks it up, and you don't have to like go into this whole separate app and like start typing out breadcrumbs posts. Like that would be really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It exists in the background. And then there's this idea of because it's geolocated, as you went into an area with, it's like, hey, there's a lot of breadcrumbs here. You'd see that notification pop down. You're like, oh, interesting. What do we got here?
And then you have pictures of all this stuff.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
like cool. Like, oh, what's this? Oh, wow.
Totally.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is free, or just across the street. And that's why I say
people might even like, if it was connected with Instagram, people might even be motivated to post just on the potential like Instagram through click, that's like, oh, this is a good content creator.
Sure.
I'm going to follow this gal on Instagram. And it's like, people then might be like,
totally.
I post on breadcrumbs, people follow me on Instagram. Like, that's cool, right?
Well, and I think it's just like a lot of these like TikTok and stuff, like people are looking for ways to like increase, people to come to them or whatever. Cause I think deals are another way, you can imagine short-term breadcrumbs that last for an hour, or maybe it's a different name or whatever, but like, my sister-in-law sent me a deal. She was like, hey, the Walmart in Saratoga happens to have a clearance on Paw Patrol toys, which my son happens to be super into. And it's like, hey, they're only going to be there for like a day, maybe a day and a half, and then they're gone. So you put a little breadcrumb